Welcome to Living with No Excuses. I'm your host, Noah Galloway, and this is where we get to meet amazing people that have overcome and doing extraordinary things. Today, I'm very excited. Our guest is Christoffer Lindhe.
I know that being an amputee is hard, but you can't stop living your life just because these amputations. You need to keep on pushing. And if I can do it, so can you. And remember that you are the one setting the limits.
I'm honored to have you on. You are now, let's say you've competed in the 2008 Beijing Paralympics, the 2012 London Paralympics. You are a world record holder in Sweden, 50, 100, 200, and the 50-meter butterfly. Have I got that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Now, okay, aside from all of that, we'll get into more details of, the swimmer, the architect, the engineer, someone who has created a lot of different things. I want to start with talking about you're in Halmstad, Sweden. Of course, we're doing this interview.
That's right.
It's nighttime. Now, okay, I've looked into Halmstad. Y'all have amazing beaches, great outdoor stuff. What is it you love? Because when I saw all the beaches, I was like, is that because you're a swimmer? What brought you to that area? Why are you living where you live?
Really good question. So I'm from Sweden, but I'm from the inland of Sweden. So I moved here to Halmstad mainly for the university. So the university brought me to Halmstad, and when I got to Halmstad, I just fell in love with the city, with the coastline, and all of that. That's So I really appreciate it here.
Yeah, no, it looks like a beautiful area. You're in Sweden, you're in this beautiful area. You're there working for university because you designed prosthetics with Lindhe Extend. Tell us about that. Like, what do you do with the university? What are you working on now?
So at the whole story behind Lindhe Extend came out from my own needs. So I'm a triple amputee, and I had big problems keeping my balance walking on these coastline areas here in Halmstad. And I, at the university, started looking into how can I make it easier for myself to be more in balance and be more stable walking in those areas. So at the university, we started looking into what's causing this issue. And it was the prosthetic foot causing it, because if you compare that to a human foot, the human foot bends and adapts to all kinds of unevenness that we are stepping on. But a prosthetic foot in comparison doesn't really do that, not in the same degree at least. So at the university, this is many years ago, we created a new prosthetic foot that is more dynamic, you could say. It's the laminate that can bend in a higher degree so that they can follow the surface that, for example, I am stepping on, creating better stability and balance.
Yeah. Let's take a step back. You were 17 and living in Sweden. How far was where you grew up from where you are now?
Approximately 2 hours of drive.
Okay. So you tell us about when you were 17, what happened that led to all of this that you're doing now?
So when I was 17, this was during the summer. So I had summer break from school, and me and some friends, we decided that we wanted to go to this car exhibition in one of the summer towns in Sweden. So we go to this, you could almost call it like a festival. and it's a lot of cars, and we're having a good time. But during the early night, you could say, I'm starting to feel quite tired. I've been up early the same morning working at my summer job. So at that point, I decided I want to go home. I want to go, and we have put up like a camping tent this particular night. So my friends think it's way too early to end this fantastic night. So it all ends up with me walking home towards this camping tent alone. And when I'm walking towards it and actually start to get quite close to it, then I suddenly notice that there are three guys walking behind me. And immediately I get this like strange stomach feeling, you could call it, that there's something wrong in this situation. And eventually I came to the conclusion that these guys, they are following me. And then my thoughts start spinning. And eventually I came to the conclusion that if I just continue walking straight ahead, then I can later on take a right turn and be back in downtown this city. So that's what I'll do. And after this decision, it's just blank. I can't remember a single thing more. But what I think has happened is that I think that something has happened with these three guys. I think that I've started running and that I also outran them. But when I'm running, I'm crossing some train tracks. And in the middle of the night, somehow, maybe I was looking behind at the same time I kicked my foot in the tracks. So I'm falling handlessly forward, hit my forehead so badly that it crushes my forehead, and I pass out. Both legs still up on the train tracks. And a few hours later, in the middle of the night, this cargo train comes and take both my legs above the knee and also my left arm above the elbow.
Now, at what point did you regain consciousness and know what was going on?
So approximately 10 days after this accident, I wake up at intensive care. And it's like in the movies, it's just bright, everything. And I see two persons leaning over my hospital bed. It's my mom and dad, just telling me that I've been in a severe accident. And then I just pass out once again. That was of course a rough time. But in the beginning,
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, you were 17, you were so young. Who was it that discovered you? Did the train conductor see it? Was there someone else there? Who got you to the hospital?
Yeah, good question. So the train driver, he did see me. He did everything he could to get stop of this train, but it was just impossible for him. So when he understood that it's impossible for him to get stop of this train, he just turned around because he didn't want to see the mess he was creating. And then, of course, he called 911, and this call went out to all the units. So like fireman, ambulance, policeman, everyone got this. And there are 3 policemen first on site. And these policemen, I've met them several times after the accident, and they literally saved my life with the first aid and shutting all the wounds. It was 3 main arteria were off, so the bleeding was the most severe injury at that point.
Yeah. So you wake up, you go back. Guide us through the process of when you started to, as you've gained consciousness, you're starting to realize what's going on. Reality is hitting you.
Yeah.
So I've been there. You've met other people there. Let's share those thoughts and feelings that you went through.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I'm getting a lot of morphine. So in the beginning, I'm like kind of off, but it was still, I deep within, I could feel that something is very wrong in this situation. So it's not until like a month after my accident they start to lower this morphine dose, and that's when I wake up and just realize everything what has happened. I'm still 17, but my life is now in total ruins. And that was that was really hard to take in, because I was a competitive swimmer before my accident as well. So I swam in the junior championships in Sweden, and I was like on the top physically. And then it's just within a blink of an eye, I'm in this hospital bed, and I'm in great pain. I have open wounds. I cannot even turn from lying on my back to lying on my side. And that was so, it really put me down, that going from being able to do anything to just being able to do nothing. So that was really hard. But then, of course, I had my friends. They came and visit me several times at the hospital and really helped me in gaining some confidence back on. And I would say the biggest turning point in my whole rehabilitation journey actually came. It's kind of a fun story, because some far off relative mailed me a VHS tape. If you remember those old
Yes.
tapes that you could record TV. So she had recorded a TV program of an American half a year maybe before my accident. And it was from a Swedish television, a recording regarding Cameron Clapp from California in the US. And in this video, Cameron, his amputations are very similar to mine. And in this video, he talks about his accident. And he just show how he's walking with his prosthetics. And when I saw this, I was still like lying with open wounds. I had no idea of how to continue. But when I saw Cameron, my like competitive mind just woke up immediately and said that one day you will be like Cameron. One day you will be up and about and walking once again. And so that is definitely my biggest turning point, a VHS tape from a TV recording.
That's a common theme in, those of us that have experienced something. It's seeing someone do something, because it's foreign to us. I mean, you're in the same position. I was 24 when I was injured, and to wake up, it's easy to get in the mindset, well, I'll never do this again. I'll never do that again. It's hard to switch that mindset to, okay, no, I can do this. It's going to be different. I'm going to do it. Now, how long did it take you? You were a competitive swimmer before, and obviously you found your way back to it, and you're amazing now. But how hard was that switch? Was there a moment of, I'll never swim again? And if there was, what was it that you're like, no, I'm getting back in it and I'm going to go crush it?
Yeah, it was kind of a long journey, actually. So it took some while before they first of all shut my wounds, and eventually they healed up. So it took me almost half a year lying in the hospital, and before everything got like healed properly, so I could go into water once again. So it was kind of a long journey where I steadily like built up that I want to get back into the water once again. And so I literally lived at the hospital for half a year, and they had like this rehab pool at the hospital, and it was a part of the rehabilitation that you should get into water again after losing all 3 body parts. I needed to like be confident being in water once again. So that steadily builds up, and when the day actually comes, I'm really anxious, and I'm looking forward to it. And I remember this day so clearly, because I'm in my wheelchair. I haven't got any prosthetics yet, and my limbs are just healed. And I'm rolling in. I'm taking a shower and all of that, and I'm coming into this pool at the hospital. And like the first thing that happens is that the guy that works at the pool, he walks up to me and say like, hey kid, you know, the lift that we usually use so we can lift the patients from the wheelchair down into the pool, it's broken, you know, so you need to dive in today. And I was like, I don't even know if I will sink or float. Uh, but somehow I made it down to the floor and eventually down into the water again. And I remember this, taking a deep breath and not diving, but maybe falling or something into the pool, and then slowly starting to sink towards the bottom. And I remember thinking that I'm lucky that I still can hold my breath for some time, because eventually they will need to pick me up from here. But then eventually I just took one stroke with this arm, immediately got up to surface, just pushed my head down, and immediately I could swim all the different 4 swim courses. And that was to 99% due to that, I had all the swimming, all the techniques since before. And still, as of today, I don't really think so much when I'm in the water. I just feel how to move and how to like take the stroke to go in a straight line and go as fast as possible. That's somehow just in my backbone or something.
Yeah. You know, what crosses my mind is I'm not a swimmer. And at the hospital I was in, Walter Reed, there was a pool there as well. And I remember being super nervous about it. And you said, you know, you had that same thought, but at what point did the people in the hospital, if they didn't know beforehand that you were a swimmer, were they like, oh my God, this guy's like a fish in water. Like you just came in
Yeah.
and you start adapting. And did they say anything? Did they know you were a swimmer prior?
I think they knew before, but yeah, kind of fun as well. Same guy after the first hour in that pool. Same thing when I got back up. He was like, it's the Paralympics, next for you, kid." And yeah,
Indeed. Yeah.
he was right. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So, how did that come about? Like, what was the level of competitiveness in the Paralympics? Like you and I, like, you know, for a lot of people that don't know, if they're not in the world of disabilities, they're unaware of how, because I've had people, you know, I'm missing my arm and leg. They're like, why don't you compete in the Paralympics? I'm like, listen, that is not, you don't just wake up and say, I'm going to be in the, just like an Olympic athlete doesn't just say, I'm going to be in the Olympics. The level of competitive, explain that to me. What was it like your first time going to the Paralympics and how did it feel?
Yeah, same thing. It was kind of a long journey, slowly building up to it. So after his recommendation, we could call it that, it's Paralympic next for you, kid. Then I started actually looking into it. And in the beginning, it wasn't, I didn't feel the need to be competitive, but I just loved being in water, loved the exercise itself. So first I got as many time slots as possible at the hospital, but eventually that wasn't enough for me. And then I went back to my old team, where I had been the champion the year before, and they took me in with open arms, and I started to train and exercise together with the 10-year-olds actually, because the 10-year-old kids, they were a little bit faster than I was with one arm. So that was I really needed to put some effort in to keep up with them during the exercises. And then eventually I managed to get into my first adaptive swimming competition. And at my first competition, I broke the Swedish record within my class. So in swimming, in Paralympic swimming, there are 10 classes where 1 is the most disabled and 10 is the least. And I was 4 on that scale. And then, of course, you have visual and other classes, but these are the physical classes. So on the scale of 4, I took the new Swedish record. And with that, in the beginning, I thought just then I'm the best in Sweden. Of course, I will go to the Paralympics. But the national coach of Sweden, after this competition, walks up to me and said that that was a good time. But don't believe that you will enter the Paralympics just due to this, because Sweden's term to send someone to the Paralympics is that you are top 10 globally within in the world. And at this time that I just did, I was on top 50, I believe. So I was quite far off. But then I talked to this coach, and we decided to go to all kinds of international competitions coming up before the last firm to be able to qualify to the Paralympic Games. And on this competition, I gradually got quicker and quicker. And then, of course, it was more and more intense training also towards this. And right before the last qualifying period, I'm in a competition in Denmark. And there's this Dutch guy on this competition, and he is ranked number 10. And in the first race, he beats me by just an inch. And in the second race, which is 200-meter freestyle, I beat this Dutch guy, and ended on a 10th place globally. Got my place into Paralympic Games in Beijing, and that was just an amazing feeling after all that hard work.
Yeah. So, okay, let me ask you this. As you're going through this, here it is, you've already proven yourself before your injury. You go through this traumatic event. You're doing everything slightly different, but you're back in the water. You're in this competitive league. You're trying to get that 10th spot. Did you have moments of doubt? And if you did, like, what was it that you would dig into? What kept you driving? What motivated you to just keep going to earn that spot?
Yeah. So absolutely, I had some doubts during this period. And I think in the beginning here, I could feel quite clearly that I had all the techniques since before within the water that I needed to qualify. But I was still, this was at this period was like 1.5 years after my accident. So I was still a little bit weak from the accident. So in this moment, I just needed to build like stamina, build muscles, and needed to dig in all the training exercises to build up my body once again. So this period was really just digging down, putting the effort in, and have in Swedish we said the forehead for it, that you just dig down and do the work for it.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like you were not overthinking an unrealistic end goal. You were concentrating on the day-to-day, which is it's not easy to do. It's hard for all of us. We get excited, and my 17-year-old son just competed in his first strongman event in a teen division, and he didn't get first place, and it really upset him. And it's great to have that competitiveness, but it's like, buddy, this is your first time doing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's hard to explain to people, I'm bad at it as well, to look at that day to day. And it sounds like you were really good at that, and it paid off because you just, like you said, kept your head down and just working on the next thing. Now, what was the big difference between 2008 in Beijing and 2012 in London? At this point, you had more experience. You probably knew your competitors better. Was it more enjoyable, or did you add a little more pressure to yourself at this point?
Yeah, it was. I would say it was both things. It was more enjoyable, absolutely, but I did know much more at this point. So it was also, I had definitely more pressure on myself. I I wanted to leave the Paralympic Games in London with the medal, and a gold one, of course. In the Beijing Paralympic Games, I was just happy to be there. I was really satisfied. I ended up 4th place in the Beijing games, and I was super happy with that.
Oh, yeah.
And
I mean, you were shooting for 10th in the world and you
yeah,
got 4th place. That's pretty amazing.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so I was really happy with that. The thing with Paralympics and Olympics is that these 4 years, that's a long time, and a lot of things happen along those years. So you think, at least I did, that you will just have a straight line. You can really work on your the whole stamina training, techniques, everything, and it will steadily be better and better until you reach the games. But at least my reality didn't really turn out like this. So I had an excellent 2009. And then I had a not so excellent 2010 with a lot of lack of results on all the competitions were internationally. It was also the year with when the swimsuits were banned within competitive swimming. And that had a greater impact in my technique than I first thought. But eventually, by the end of 2010, I managed to overcome this, and I'm back on track, and everything's feeling good. But in December 2010, I'm in a competition in Toronto, Canada. And on the plane back home from this competition, I noticed that I have a small, like a sore on my left leg. And in the beginning, I'm just thinking that I scratch myself. It will heal up. But after when a month has passed and it hasn't healed, I go to seek out my doctors, and I'm osseointegrated. So I have a titanium implant on my left leg and left arm, and this sore is still very small, but it's more like 10 centimeters deep and go all the way up to the bone, where I have bacteria on the osseointegration, and that's what's causing this. So I have a deep infection within my osseointegration. And this deep infection is surgered 3 times during 2011. And I eat multiple very strong antibiotics that really ruins my blood values. And I have a really bad 2011. And eventually, the doctors actually prohibited me from being in pool water for the last 5 months of 2011 until I healed this infection out. So by December 2011, I've healed the infection, and I haven't been in a pool for 5 months, and it's approximately 9 months to Paralympic starts. And in the beginning, I'm thinking that maybe it's not possible, but eventually, like 2 weeks later, I'm like, I will give it a shot and see if I can qualify first of all, and let's just see what happens from there. So I once again put my head down and just put in the effort, all the training, all the hours in the pool that's needed. So approximately 4 hours a day, just exercising, and in between, of course, meals, resting, and stretching and all of that. And then the last day goes for the qualifying period, and I am not qualified for the Paralympic Games in London, which really upset me, because I had been on an international competition qualifying as the 4th man before the Paralympic Games, and still Sweden didn't want to give me a place to the Paralympic Games in London. And it took some additional months before Sweden got an additional place from the Paralympic Committee internationally, and that place was given to me because I was ranked 4 in the world and still didn't have a place in a Paralympic game. So that wasn't optimal for my preparations. But eventually I got to the Paralympics, I got to London, and I could clearly see all the similarities with Beijing and London, the whole event itself. And I could definitely benefit from that. And then on the competitions, everything goes fine. I was close in the medley, 4 different swim courses in one. And then the 200-meter freestyle, my best distance, it's my last race. And I'm qualified as number 4 for the finals. And I'm just thinking that if I just continue swimming as I usually do, then I will end on a 4th place once again. And ending on 4th or 8th, last in final, doesn't really matter for me. I want up on the podium. I want a medal. So I'm thinking if I go up much faster, then I will be ahead of my competition in the beginning of the race. Hopefully, I can stress them a little bit, and hopefully they will, due to that, lose some techniques and stress, and I will get a bigger shot on the podium. So I do that, and after 100 meters, I'm number 2nd. And after that 100-meter, I'm just feeling that I don't really have the stamina to keep on that pace. So I'm losing places, and I ended on a 5th place in that race. And I was really disappointed at that point. But now looking back, I didn't really have the infection wasn't good for me. If I didn't have the infection, I could have been on this high pace throughout the entire race.
Yeah. Now the infection you mentioned, for those who are watching, osseointegration is where they put the rod in the limb so the prosthetic connects directly to it. So
exactly.
Now, okay, I mean, of course, you said, looking back, you see that, and I know it was upsetting, but yeah, that downtime, like 9 months to get back in, and then basically you had to sweet talk your way back in, because it's like, hey, the guy's been doing it. So to end up in 5th is actually pretty impressive. Now, let me ask you this. When it comes to swimming, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a swimmer like you, but there is something about being in a pool as an amputee that is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, it's so comfortable. You don't feel like you have a disability. Do you get that effect when you're in the pool?
Absolutely.
Even whether you're swimming laps or just in the pool?
Yeah.
Like, do you get
in
that?
In the water, you're weightless. And that was it's a really good thought, because my first time in the pool, it was just amazing, because suddenly I was not limited by my disability, because in the water I was the old Christoffer once again. I was fast, I could do anything, I wasn't limited. On land I had great disabilities, but in the water I had none, and that was such an amazing feeling. And I think that's why I love water so much.
Yes. Now, can you tell a difference now I love a pool, but the ocean is a little more challenging, especially when it's getting in from the beach. I've found that. So I'm not a big fan of open water. Have you done some competitive open water swimming?
I've done some, yes.
Yeah.
And it's very different compared to pools.
Yes, very different. Now, let me ask you this. So you get in the water, that probably was a big part of the mental health side of things, because I know for me, getting in a pool is very calming and relaxing and makes me feel good about myself. What other things have you done when it comes to when you're injured? I mean, this affects you, mentally, emotionally, not just physically. What have you done? What do you continue to do to help with your mental health?
That's a really good question, and I think swimming has definitely been a big part of it, because when you're in the water and you're like swimming laps, then you're like uh, somehow disconnected from the world. No one can speak to you, and you are just left there alone with your thoughts. And also, I find it like often if I have a big like an issue, a problem, something, I can go into the pool, and when I get up, I feel so much. It feels so much better regarding this particular problem issue. So that's definitely a big part of it. And then I also think, of course, I had first after my accident, I had a lot of thoughts and a lot of things, but I also had a lot of progress. And every time I faced a setback, I kind of uh, paused a little bit and started looking backwards instead and see all the progress that I actually have made. Even though I have a setback right now, I can still look back and see that I had great progress in my rehabilitation, for example, looking backwards. So that has been kind of a good way forward for me. And then I also think like even though and this I still use today, something happens and when the issue occurs, you see no solution on it, but just being relaxed and a little bit confident and let time do its work, because quite oftenly if you have a problem or an issue and you're focusing on it, you have no solution, but you're trying and testing different ways, and that didn't work, but let's just continue. And eventually or at least so far, those solution has been solved eventually, giving them some time and be persistent in trying to find solutions to them.
Yeah. I've got to say, you've got a really good head on your shoulders because you're able to see things in a way that most of us struggle to get to through recovery and what we're doing. And I don't know if sometimes some of it we never learn. So it's, these points are really good. And I love that you make them. And that makes me want to point out you have on your social media, Instagram, YouTube, and we'll share all these links. You're good about sharing videos of your experiences and things you're doing. And I think that's amazing because so many of us, just like you, that first time you saw the guy on the VHS tape, you're a guidance for so many of us in seeing what's possible after
Yes.
something traumatic happens. So that leads me to, so you're married, have children. How many children do you have?
Two daughters,
Two. How old
so
are they?
6 and 9.
6 and 9. Oh, that is
Yes.
amazing. Now my kids, my daughter is 15, and one day she was like, I forget that you're missing an arm and a leg. Because she says we were somewhere, and she says she'll see people looking. They're like, what are they looking at? Then she realizes, oh yeah, my dad has one
Yeah.
arm and one leg. Like your children, is there any reaction to your disability, or are they swimmers? What do they do? Share some of your home life. Like my 2-year-old knows that if he wants me to play, my older kids are the same way. If I didn't have my leg on, they'll drag it over to me. They
Oh
know
yeah.
you got to put this on if we're going to go outside. Like, what
Yeah.
about your kids? How do they react to?
So yeah, they're grown up with all my prosthetics and all of that. So that's totally natural for them, and I think they they have since I don't know, since they were really small, they have never like run away from me, because they know that I can't run after them. So, but if mom's around, then they can just rush. But if I'm alone with them, they would never do that. So that's amazing, and they absolutely they also so if someone like stares at me at my amputation, I hardly even see it anymore. But they of course notice it, and they of course can be in the beginning they can be a little bit upset about it, but then they just continue with that. And I think it's just for them, it's just natural, and also for all their friends, it's just natural. So there's no issue. And I'm a bilateral above knee, so I use stubbies quite frequently as well. And I remember when they were smaller, they called my stubby legs for my fun legs and my long legs for my boring legs. Because when I was
you weren't
in my
as fun to be
stubby legs,
around.
yeah, then I was in play mode in stubby legs. So
Yes.
then I was at deer height. I could be in the floor, and so that was my fun legs, and my boring legs were the regular.
And I love that you
And
shared that, because it makes me, as you were talking, there's a lot of people out there that are going through right now something traumatic in their life. And it's easy to get in your head and think, there's a lot we won't experience. Our children, our family, they look past all that, and it's never an issue. Now, your wife, when did you meet her?
So approximately 1 year after my accident. So both me and her were from this small town in Sweden. So we did know each other before my accident as well. And and then so we met in school. So we were in school together in the same school. And then I think it was a summer night 1 year after my accident. We were out at the bar and met. And since that day.
The rest is history. I love it. I love it. Two little girls. All right. Well, so you have Lindhe Extend, where you designed a prosthetic foot. Is there anything? What else are you involved with prosthetics?
So we are we have one prosthetic foot that I talked about. That was the whole start of Lindhe Extend itself, and it was also some when I had developed this foot. Of course, my initial idea was to just give it to someone that's within this industry. But after some meetings, I realized that at least for me, it felt like they weren't that interested in this device. But I personally felt like I have to have it. So from that day, I took the decision that I will start this company, Lindhe Extend, and I will put it to the market because I see the need for it. So that was the first product, and then we are gradually expanding. So we also have quick adapters for prosthetics, so you can disconnect and connect. For example, sitting down, you can take away the weight of the prosthetic and just sit more, relax. Or if you have multiple legs, like one for water, one for regular, then you can just leave the socket on and switch the componentry underneath.
So much easier.
Same thing. It was out from my needs. I felt like I need something. In my case, it was going from stubbies to long and being back and forth in these, and just making it as easy as possible. Also, putting pants on prosthetics is a big hassle. And now I just take off the foot, pull the pants on, and just put the foot back on in a few seconds.
So how well are these products doing? I mean, are they all over the world now? You got people that are using them?
So the company is 11, soon to be 12 years, and we started off in Europe, and then eventually we expanded to Japan and Australia. And since 2020, COVID year, we started also in the US and Canada. So so US and US is our biggest market, and it's good for us. So we are gradually expanding. We are still a very small player within prosthetics. We are 17 employees, and if we just do a comparison with like the biggest one, Autobock, a German company, they are 8,000 employees. So that's what we're up against. But I think like innovation wise or product wise, me personally, I think our products are as good. And I just to prove what I'm saying is that we have free trials, and then I think it's up to the amputee themselves to just try and then decide what fits them best.
Now, what about prosthetic arms? Are you going to do anything with prosthetic arms?
So we don't have anything on upper extremity right now. I of course I have an prosthetic arm myself, and I see some areas for improvement. Absolutely.
Do you think that's something in the future you're going to work on? Is there plans for that?
We'll see. As I said, we're a small team, so as of now, we really need to focus our R&D resources. So we have 2 different ongoing projects, and that I unfortunately can't really talk about.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, maybe I can. Well, yeah, there's new things coming out shortly from us. I can say that before summer.
We'll update. No, I'll be following you, and I'm excited to share anything and everything that you have, even going forward. Now,
Yes.
tell me, what else do you do? What can you share that you have coming up that you're excited about? Tell us, tell me your YouTube channel, your Instagram handle. How can people find you? How can they follow you? And what do you have coming up?
Absolutely. So the big thing for me, or the reason why I started my different social media accounts, was to become that inspiration for others, and to do that both with humor and try to do different fun videos and stuff like that, but also be so mixture that also with some deeper content, like speaking about how to get back after life overturning situation that you ended up in those type of ways back as well. So that is something that we really that I'm focusing on, that we are working on. And then of course also mixing in some sports activities. For example, I've been sit skiing this winter, and I was a skier also before my accident. I did sit skiing like 12 years ago, and now I did it once again. And just that was some rough days before I learned. So also to prove that it is possible, you can come back to whatever hobby you had before. And now I'm soon to release a video also regarding some shooting. On a shooting range. So I had, like in Sweden, you have to have a hunting license. And I'm grown up on a farm, and I've been out and doing hunting my entire life. But since my accident, I really haven't, both maybe not had the time for it, and really hasn't put in the effort for it. And I had this final like shooting exam that I needed to do before my hunting license was complete. So there's a video coming out, me trying, and we'll see, hopefully achieving that license shortly as well. Same thing, just to prove that it's possible to get back to all kinds of activities that you maybe did before and want to continue with.
No, and I love that you're doing that, because so many of us need that. And you never know what area of expertise you have that you're going to connect to somebody that they're like, I needed to see that, to see you swimming, or see you sit skiing, or even shooting. That, I mean, as well as I do, you've been injured long enough. There's no better feeling than when you hear from somebody that says, you know what, you are my inspiration. So I love that. I hope you continue to do that on social media and everything you do. And in fact, you mentioned in a humorous way, we're going to share a video that is, when I saw it, I rushed and showed it to my producer. And just to explain it, the videos where people have the knives and they pull it out and put it back in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to ruin the story, but we're going to share that right now. You know what video I'm talking about where your leg falls off?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that all right. So that video is amazing. When I saw it, I had to watch it again and realize what was happening. That is hilarious. I not, you know, and I wanted to share that. I'm glad you mentioned humor because I wanted to share that video because it shows that you're not just an intellectual. Like obviously you're what you've done, how you speak, you're a very intelligent person, but that sense of humor is so enjoyable to see because after an injury, there's sometimes that's all you can do is just laugh at it and own it.
Yeah.
And I love
Absolutely.
that you do that. That is a great video. Now,
Yeah.
before we leave, like I said, we're going to share all your social media stuff. I want to share that with all my followers. We have this thing that we do where I came across this card game that has different levels of getting to know somebody. And me and my producer had done it one night and it's really good. Like if you're with some friends, like you learn a lot about each other. And it's three
Okay.
different levels. You know, it gets harder. One's an icebreaker, called confessions, and the other one is getting deep. So it goes a little deeper. Is it okay if we go
Okay.
through one of each of these and then we'll wrap this up? I know you got kids to deal with getting to bed. It's later there than it is here. All right. First one. What is
Yes.
something what is something simple that makes you smile?
Mm, I think, yeah, just anything regarding water. And I love boating. So I would say a day in a boat. That's a good day.
Now, what kind of boating? Like, are we talking like full-on sailboat, rowboat,
No, it's
just any
I'm
a
a
yacht,
motorboat guy.
just an
So
out on the
I
water?
I'm grown up with an old like an yeah, really old yeah, boat with an old diesel Volvo engine within it, and
Yeah.
unfortunately it broke down a few years ago. So now I have upgraded to a little bit more of a, yeah, faster boat.
Have you ever gotten into skiing?
Yes,
Water skiing?
I've done not from a boat, but from like in cable parks. I've done
Yeah.
wakeboard.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
really fun.
There's a lake near my house, and there's a guy who has an adaptive water program. He's a Paralympic athlete that is spinal cord injury and sit skis, and he does really amazing things with people. I tried it, you know, and some things you try just to be like, hey, I want to try it. And I was like, no, I'm
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
You know, I didn't care to keep doing it. But
yeah.
yeah, I enjoyed it. But yeah, it makes sense that water is your thing.
Yeah.
You live in the right spot.
Absolutely. And yeah, I remember the first time I did eat or swallow some water. Yeah, the first times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next question. If you could only keep three things from your home, what would you pick and why?
Uh, uh, it's family. Are they already
No,
included
you and the
or?
family. Let's go with you and the family are leaving, and you
Yeah.
have to grab three things. There are three things the only things you can take are three things. What are they going to be?
Um, yeah, if I can say just one of them would be, of course, my prosthetics. I will
Yeah, I know. I was thinking
definitely
that.
need those.
Yeah.
uh, and yeah, besides that, I'm feeling really boring. It would like food, water, and some gear. Uh, and we would head off back to my hometown, I think. Yeah, that's
If you
probably
had to leave,
what
so
would
you would just take what you need to make the commute back home,
yeah,
and then that's where you'd go. I get that. Hey, that makes
yeah,
perfect sense. No,
yeah.
yeah, and the prosthetics. When I asked the question, I was like, "Well, we probably could have skipped that because obviously you're going to pack your prosthetics."
Yeah, free prosthetics. That's 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, 1, 2, 3, done. Question answered.
Yeah.
All right, the last one. What is your idea of a perfect wedding anniversary celebration? Okay, how long? What is your wife's name?
Martina.
Martina. All right. How long have y'all been married?
Uh, Good question. It's 15 years.
15 years. Okay. So let's imagine that you start planning now for your 20th wedding anniversary. What do you think the perfect 20th wedding anniversary for you and Martina would be?
That would definitely be vacation somewhere Mediterranean, I believe, or maybe Hawaii. That was amazing. We went after the Paralympic Games in London. So either of that, like I don't know, Croatia in Mediterranean or Hawaii, I believe.
Yeah. First
And
thing that popped in my mind was Hawaii, Maui. Me and my wife had been to Maui we went to a friend's wedding in Maui. And that was when you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that's where I would go. Hawaii is gorgeous.
yeah, yeah, I really both of us we loved it over there. So
Yeah.
definitely want to get back.
Do y'all travel a lot?
Not anymore. Not since the kids. It's not been as. It's been within Europe, and mainly due to the distance of the flights. So Hawaii is a really long flight for us.
Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna let you go, but before we go, let's end with, if someone going through that dark time has just recently had some traumatic in their life, what piece of advice would you like to leave them with? What would you say?
I would say things will things will not be as they are today. They will get better by time. So be patient, be persistent, and keep on pushing forward. Even though you have setbacks, just keep on and keep on pushing. And eventually, one day, you will find yourself in a much more happier place.
I love it. And it sounds like you are in a great place. You're happy, your wife, two kids, live in an amazing area, and doing incredible things for amputees and inspiring so many people. Christoffer, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I'm going to keep following you on YouTube, on Instagram, and we're going to share those links with everybody and just keep putting great content out. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Noah, and thanks for having me.